Around 995,000 people obtained citizenship of a member state of the EU in 2016, up 18% from 2015. Freedom of movement rules state EU citizens have the right to live and work in any of the bloc's member states. According to data from Eurostat, the statistical office of the bloc, people from Morocco made up the highest numbers, followed by citizens of Albania, India, Pakistan and Turkey. 101,300 people from Morocco were granted EU citizenship, with 89% obtaining citizenship from Spain, Italy or France, 67,500 people from Albania and 41,700 people from India acquired EU citizenship, with almost 60% of those Indian citizens obtaining British citizenship. Romanians, 29,700, and Poles, 19,800, were the two largest groups of EU citizens acquiring citizenship of another EU member state. GETTYEU citizenship was granted to 1 million people in 2016. We recognise the concerns that people in the UK have about this issue of net migration into the UK, which is why we set ourselves a target in relation to net migration and want to continue to work to ensure that we address that particular target. Theresa May: under the Brexit divorce deal, EU citizens will be able to continue to come to the UK during the transition period. And the data comes as Theresa May suggested the government's target of cutting net annual migration below 100,000 will continue after Britain leaves the EU, the Prime Minister said. Of course, crucially, we will be out of the single market and we will be out of the free movement rules, and we will be setting our own rules for migration into the United Kingdom. We recognise the concerns that people in the UK have about this issue of net migration into the UK, which is why we set ourselves a target in relation to net migration and want to continue to work to ensure that we address that particular target. Eurostat EU citizenship, 5 main EU states granting citizenship in 2016. The 2016 figures mark an increase in EU citizenship from previous years. 841,000 people acquired EU citizenship in 2015 and 889,000 people obtained EU citizenship in 2014. Most new citizenships in 2016 were granted by Italy, with a southern EU state handing out EU rights to 201,600 people, or 20% of the EU 28 total. Spain granted 150,900 new citizens, followed by the UK at 149,000, France at 119,200 and Germany granting EU rights to 112,800 people. Thousands of UK citizens plan to flee UK after Brexit. New data reveals Eurostat citizenship, number of people obtaining EU citizenship 2009 to 2016. Of those obtaining citizenship of an EU 28 member state in 2016, 87% had previously been citizens of non-EU countries. Only in Luxembourg and Hungary were the majority of new citizenships granted to citizens of another EU member state. And the number of UK nationals acquiring citizenship of another EU member state more than doubled in 2016. In the year of the Brexit referendum, 6,555 applications were approved, up from 2,748. In 2015, Jonathan Portes, a professor of economics at King's College London, said, "The increase in Britons acquiring the nationality of other EU countries is obviously driven by the prospect of Brexit, which is very likely to make UK citizenship much less useful for working, living and travelling elsewhere in the EU. It would be very surprising if this trend did not continue."